And here we are, everybody. It's that time. I'm Kate Richburg, and welcome to Beadshop Live. It is Wednesday, September 15th, and like I say every time, we've got quite a show for you today. So let's see who's here. Oh my goodness, everyone is here. We have Janice moderating over on our YouTube channel. We've got Geeta moderating over on our Facebook feed, and we're broadcasting special today into the Great Bead Extravaganza group on the YouTube channel and on the Facebook page. So a big hello to everyone if you're watching me live, and a big hello if you're watching us on replay. We really, really appreciate it. So, my goodness, everyone is here. My goodness. It's great to have everyone here. So let me just give a couple of quick shout outs, a little bit of business, and then we will get down to it. So just to let you all know that you can find us. Drea just texted me, so I was reading it. Sorry, I was a little distracted there for a second. But you can find us every Wednesday and Friday at 10:30 a.m. Pacific time, right here on whatever social media platform you're watching on, as well as you can follow us on our Instagram at beadshop.com. You can join our Facebook group, The Bead Table. We'd love to have you over there. Over 6,000, almost, I think 6,500 now of you beaders are over there sharing and chatting, and it's a great social bead table over there for everybody to meet. And of course, if you're watching us on our YouTube channel, you can like and subscribe right at beadshop.com. And a special welcome to the Facebook group, The Great Bead Extravaganza, and The Great Bead Extravaganza on YouTube. So thanks you guys for joining in today's fun. So let's see. Oh my gosh. Everybody's here, and this is, thank you so much, everybody, for all of you guys. Oops, let me get this banner off the thing here. There we go. Here I am. So many of you have emailed this week, and you've seen in our group I've been having giveaways every day because it's my birthday week. I'm going to turn the big 5-5. It's double nickels. It is the senior menu for me at IHOP, and I'm telling you, I'm going to take advantage of all of it. So my birthday is actually Friday, so I'm not going to be here on Friday, but I have a pre-recorded broadcast for you guys, so you don't need to worry. You will have a free tip Friday. It just won't be me being live. So today we have a project that I'm calling Trail of Stars. I have it here to show you, and I'm going to finish it. There we go. I'm going to finish it up on air. We're going to talk about this. This is kind of in our Bollywood necklace kind of theme. We've got some macrame here, and I have some inventive closures that we're going to play with. So we had a new product release this week. We released it on Monday from our friends at TierraCast, the Celestial Collection. I'm going to show you real quick some of the things that we're carrying from the Celestial Collection, as well as a couple of new things we're carrying to kind of accent it. But we're really in love with these beautiful pieces from our buddies over at TierraCast. It's really, really great. And if you stick around to the end of the broadcast, I have a giveaway. It's going to be this. But you'll have to stay tuned for the phrase that you're going to put in, and we'll do the drawing right at the end of the show. And that will be good only for the live broadcast right now, Wednesday, September 15th. So I see everybody, people are all over. I love this. Julie, you're watching us from the UK, and you say, you Americans certainly know how to bead. Well, we certainly do, but hello to you, Julie, across the miles. I lived in London for a short time in my college years, and it's next to San Francisco, one of my favorite cities in the whole wide world. So hello to you. I see someone, and Delia, you are watching us from Mexico, one of the places in the world that is also near and dear to my heart. So hello to both of you, and people are just saying hello from all over the world. So thank you so much for joining me today. It's making my birthday week super, super special. But let's jump in and get started with what we've got going on here. So let me, that doesn't look like much, does it? But let me put some things in here so they will look like something. So the Celestial Collection are some really beautiful pieces from TierraCast. And if you saw the giveaway yesterday, I picked a winner on our page, and the winner is winning. We're doing some little giveaways, as I said, for my birthday week. And so I'll announce it later on in the group. But I had some TierraCast pieces and then some silver and gold CKC here too. So we did that as a giveaway. And so the pieces that they all really stand out, and they're super distinctive, and they're kind of based on some vintage pieces. This one here is based on a vintage watch fob that was the inspiration. So this, look at that two-sided moon and sun pendant. Isn't it beautiful? It's a six-sided piece, and it comes in the antique silver, the antique copper. Yay, thank you for that. And the antique gold, which I have on my project. So Andrea says, am I summoned, or are we all good here? I think we're all good, I think. Drea, thank you. I got you your text. They also put in a button in this collection, this Starburst button that has this beautiful crystal in the center, right? Like this. Beautiful, beautiful. And then this two-sided, look at this moon and starburst pendant that kind of goes with that beautiful button. And again, that's two-sided, that moon and starburst pendant. And it's a nice kind of substantial one. The sizes are listed in our descriptions on the website, but just so you know, so you have an idea about size, this button is about 14 millimeters, you can see, and the loop on the back will fit a 1.5 millimeter leather with no problem. This six-sided pendant is almost 24.5 millimeters from the top of, not the top of the loop, but the piece itself. From the top of the loop, it's about 28.5 millimeters, okay? And it's nice and heavy, I'll show you. Not so heavy that it's uncomfortable, but it's like 2 millimeters thick. It's really nice. And then this guy here, I'll include the loop. The loop is a little over 19 millimeters here. And again, the hole, the loop size in that one, if I can get an inside diameter, it is 2.9 millimeters, the inside of that loop. So they're just gorgeous. And then they also added, there's a few more things. They added this clasp, this magnetic clasp that's so good that it's almost hard for my fingers to open it. There we go. So you just kind of put it like this. You can see the magnet is here. And then it's a really super sturdy magnet that just clips together really nicely. And it is two-sided like this. And then it seems like this one is everybody's favorite. I just love it. And they come in these little baggies. So I'm going to open this baggie here real quick and tell you what this little collection is. They come in we carry them in the gold, the silver, the antique brass, and the copper. Oh, and I guess I'll use the ones that I'm going to use for my project. It's the little moon phases charms. And so you can see they go from the crescent moon, from the waning to the waxing moon, I guess is the best way to put it. Okay, so it's those guys right there. And those are small, right? So this one is, they're not super small, but they're a nice diminutive little charm. It's about 10.5 millimeters from the top of the loop to the bottom of the charm. And then the inside diameter, if I can get it, in that loop is about 2 millimeters, you can see. Okay. And then what we've got here I'm just looking to see if there were any more questions here. We've got a few. Just everybody saying hi and stuff. Great. I'm so glad that you like all of the goodies as much as I do. And then the button, you can see there is that really nice gem on the inside here. You can see kind of the profile of that. It's really gorgeous. So another knock out of the park with you guys, TierraCast. So thank you so much. We really appreciate all of the care that you guys take in putting these pieces together. So this project that I'm doing today is going to be TierraCast heavy. So let's take a look and let's see what we've got going on. I know Janice is saying that this, I know what she's thinking. Janice, this really was clean about a second ago, but give me a moment here. Let me get a nice, even cleaner board for this. Let me see if I can do that so we can look at it. Whoops, there goes my little things, but easily picked up with the triangle. It really, the camera, not only does the camera, as they say, add 10 pounds, it also adds like 10 more spots on the front of the boards. So let's just do this real quick. There we go. That's a little bit better. All right. So let me actually, now I'm up a little bit high. So let me take this board actually out. There we go, because I need a lip on the edge. So let me show you what the pieces that I've made. This, we've put in the description that it's actually 4 necklaces. I think it's actually going to end up being 5 necklaces, I think. You and I are going to take that journey today as I put all of this together. The other TierraCast components, and you can see everything that I'm using, you guys, right over on our website at beadshop.com. They're all in the Just In. And you also, if you look under Trail of Stars, the whole complete list is there. What Drea was texting me about, okay, I added, of course, because you know me, I like to design on the fly. And so this happened. It's the hammered hook that we haven't really used from TierraCast, and I just love it. So I'm adding it into the project. Drea just added it to the project page. So if you ordered for the project and you're like, what? I didn't get the hook. Don't worry. Drea says just email info@beadshop.com and she can add it to your order. Okay, so that's that. So we've got this hammered hook. We've got these little 6th Sense spacers here that I love using. We've got some of what we call the Happy Donut bead that I'm using a lot of. And then we've got what we call our transition bead. It's that large crimp bead here. So those are also from TierraCast, and we just love them so much. So let me show you the things that I have so far. I'm also using, just to let you know, I'm using Chinese knotting cord today in this piece. And Chinese knotting cord is, I'm really kind of rediscovering my love of stringing with it and working with it. So I'm using the Chinese knotting cord in 0.5 millimeter, and I'm using it in these 3 colors, in the navy, the violet, and the ink blue. And that's kind of my, I guess, the anchor, the base of what I'm using here. And then we added this silver and gold, just came out, this new Chinese knotting cord. It's metallic. The threads are metallic, and you can see the threads are braided over a nylon core. It's kind of hard to see, but it's there, just there. And it's a 0.8 millimeter, and that's the only size that it comes in. You'll see when I work with it today, the Chinese knotting cord is like super sleek, right, and smooth. This, just because it's metallic, is not quite as smooth, but it's really easy to work with. I'm going to show you how I do it. I I love it. I don't know why I love it so much, but I love it so much. So I use the gold in the project. We also carry it in the silver, which would look amazing with this silver collection here. Okay, so then I have some extra beads. I have some English cuts here that I've used, and I've used some 5mm rondelles. Now this project is really perfect for you guys to stash dive with as well. As long as the beads that you're choosing, these check glass, have holes that are pretty generous. Then I'll show you how I get these on the cord. I have some special techniques to share with you on that. And then, of course, I have a bevy of seed beads. Now, I used a lot of seed beads in this, and because I wanted some seed beads that had some subtle color changes, so I might have overdid it, but you know, whatever. So if you don't get all the seed beads, that's fine. I mean, you could just get like the bluish, the silver lined navy, the champagne, and then this it's the 308, and I'm trying to remember the name of it. Let me just go right over there and I'll tell you so I'm calling it the right name. It is the Cobalt Gold Luster is what this is. You know, or you could make it dark with this one with the bronze, or you could choose all of them, whatever. But I loved how all of these kind of look together. As you know, I'm kind of on this kick for September with all of this pretty kind of sapphire colors and stuff, and with this celestial launch from TierraCast, it all really fits together. So so that's what I got on these. Okay, so let me show you my first strands of what I did. And I have been working on this necklace for about 2 weeks. And what a surprise, it's still not done. It was giving me a little bit of angst, I guess. I don't know why it was, but I don't know. I was having trouble envisioning what I was going to do. And then finally, actually yesterday, and I had the pieces and parts and everything done, but I had a little chat with Drea, and she's like, how about this? And I'm like, you're a genius. So so it really all started to come together for me yesterday morning. What a surprise. So I have these components. So what I want, and I don't know if any of you guys follow the Met Gala, right? The New York Met, the Met Gala was on Monday. And that's also kind of when this started to come together as well with the Met Gala, because I love to see like all the outrageous clothes and the red carpet on that. And the theme was American designers this year. And so it was kind of cool. So I wanted to create something that was like over the top, right? So this is kind of over the top. You know, that project I'm doing with the September monthly mix is a nod to Liz Taylor. Well, I'd like to think that if Liz wore a macrame necklace, may she rest, she might have worn this piece, which makes me happy. So let me walk you through these 3 strands that I've got here, and then let me tell you where I'm going, and then we're going to bring it all together. Okay, so each of these are individual necklaces, so you can wear them singly or you can stack. Okay, so I pulled this really beautiful, you've seen it before, we've used it. This is that checkerboard Swarovski crystal that I have. Andrea, when she asked me, I was really having trouble with this strand. I was incorporating this piece across, going through so that this bead was facing this way. And I was like, Drea, I'm going to turn it. And she goes, well, are you going to put the thread through it, or are you going to wire wrap it? And I'm like, I'm going to put the thread through it, right? So that's real. Once I figured out what I was doing with this, things all fell into place, right? So you can see here with this larger one, and the project maps are going to be up on the website soon, so you'll be able to see these all laid out, and you'll be able to follow it bead by bead. But I started in the center, and on all of these necklaces, I started in the center. But I cut 2 long lengths, and I'll measure everything for you so you've got the measurements. 2 long lengths of the metallic gold. I slid one of the Happy Donuts on at the bottom as a stopper bead. I thought, I'll use a seed bead. And I'm like, no, I've got these 2 strands. They have to go up through. I need something more substantial. So that Happy Donuts at the bottom, all the strands, there's 2 strands that are doubled up. And you can see they come up. They're put together here with another one of those Happy Donuts. And then the strands split. 2 come off this way, 2 come off this way. And then, let me focus on this one here. And then I started to macrame. Okay, and what I did was I cut my length, my macrame here, right here, and I just started on one end. And you'll see me do this because I'm going to do it on this other pendant here, so you'll see how I start it. And then I just did some plain macrame here, and then I did the beaded macrame stitch with the beads across. You'll see me do that. Then there's this exact same stitch. I did 2 plain stitches here. Then I did a seed bead on one side and a drop on the other. Can you see that? It's that same flat macrame. Then a single stitch, then the 5mm rondelle on top, and the drop on the bottom. Macrame it down, single stitch. 8-aught again, and then the drop. So it creates kind of this nice little crown element that's here. And then I just continued on, and I played around a little bit with different ways of doing this. But with this charm, I chose to have the moon face sitting forward, but you could flip it and have the sun facing forward, whatever works for you. I strung on a Happy Donut. I put that that charm on a 5mm jump ring, added another donut, and then continued with that same pattern. Then to end it here, I thought I would do the macrame, the spiral macrame, and I'm going to show you how to do that as well today. So I added that blue, did the spiral, and then I silk wrapped everything closed. Now, take a look at how beautifully this metallic silk wraps. I just love it, how it looks. And I wanted this to have a unifying feel, right? And I'm going to close this one that's over here, I'm going to close this like I did this, so you'll be able to see me close it. So just hang tight. We've got 2 of the Happy Donuts here. And then I just tied a knot to hold that all together. Then I used this double. And then I silk wrapped the end, or I went through the clasp, silk wrapped the end, and just cut off the extra. Okay, so you can see this closes just like this. And so this piece is not adjustable, but let me measure it for you just so you can see the length of this piece. So so this finishes at about 26 inches. So I must have cut about 30 inches of cord, 2 30-inch cord pieces, right? And use that as the base. So I had a little bit extra here as I cut it away. Okay, so that's this one. So, and you can size this however you want. You've got a lot of space here to make this longer or shorter, however you want. And this one though is meant to be the anchor for this. So let me show you, let me add this in. So you can see here, this is like the anchor piece, the bottom. Okay, so that's that one. Okay, right there. So now, let's go back. Let's go back to this. So that's the second one. So this one here, there she is going to be like maybe the third one up. The second one up is going to be this guy. Okay, but this one I did, and I used the button as the focal. Okay, and there's no kit for this, you guys. There's a lot of people in the chat kind of saying, is there a kit, Kate? Is there a kit? There is a materials list for this. So it has so many moving parts. Okay, so kitting this would have taken us like a year. So you can pick and choose on the project page right on beadshop.com what you'd like to add to this. So you can see I use the button. This really, I feel like this design is from another world. I don't know. Once I got going on this, it started to come out pretty nicely, if I do say so myself. So you can see the button starts, and I again started in the center. I feel like it's really important to start these necklaces at the middle, because the centerpiece is the most important part of what we have here, right? So I start all of these in the middle and then work my way up. So this one, you can see here through the back of this button, I cut 2 lengths of the Metallic CKC, and I'll tell you how long I cut them. I cut them probably about 2 lengths at about 20 inches, maybe 22 inches to be safe, let's say. Okay. And you can see on the back what I did was I came through, I put my cords through, and then I started the flat macrame. And in order to make this sit correctly, I just started the flat macrame with the blue, this ink blue, on one side, right? I started, and I cut a lot for these. I probably cut for that length, because it goes all the way around. I'll tell you, that length is probably about a yard, maybe a little bit more. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to revise that. I'm going to say I cut 40 inches and then doubled it over. Okay, that should be about right. You can always add more macrame in here, so it's not the end of the world, but 40 inches is about right, and then doubled it over. Okay, so I was working with 20-inch lengths here. Okay, so here, oh, and I just saw the hang on, everybody. That the Metallic, Janice, double check. Let me just do this. I'm going to have you guys look at this real quick. I'm going to look in the back, on the back end here. Bear with me 2 shakes, and I want to check something real quick. That's the joy of having a live broadcast, is that you can just take a quick look here, and you never know what's going to happen. The metallic gold. Let me see. Bear with me here just one moment. Ask and ye shall receive. It is now back in, because I believe the order just dropped here. Let me just double check the this one. Thank you for bearing with me, everyone. And I just want to make sure that it's all in for your perusal. And yes, it's so luscious, you guys. I love how this really shows underneath the macrame, and I think that's really why I used it more for underneath. What do I want to say? Not underneath, but as a base for my macrame. There we go, and it's all back into stock. Bam! Look at how fast I am. Janice, it's all done. It's in, done, and good to go. Okay. So I think it really adds a lot to this piece. So when I was macrameing, so you can see here, I've done my flat macrame, flat macrame, flat macrame, flat macrame. Then I started adding the beads, and I did the beads across rather than offset because I wanted this gold CKC to really show through and be a part of the design feature of this. Okay, if that makes sense. So macrame, macrame, macrame. I used the rondelles and the 8mm English cuts, and I'm going to show you how those go on in this one here. So just hang tight on that, and I'll show you. And then the way I finished this was I wanted to add kind of a little bit of a fancier closure to this. Okay, so right here, flat the transition here. Then I go into macrameing with the metallic. Now look at this reverse. This is the spiral macrame, and I used the dark blue underneath here. Okay, and so essentially what I did was I added, or no, it's the light blue and the purple. I added the purple here, did the flat macrame, and then just switched it up. And you'll see, because I'm going to do it on the other closure. So just hang tight if it's a little confusing now. It all will be revealed as I get a little closer. So macrame, macrame. But look at this twist. And it's a little stiffer than the regular CKC, but I really, really love it. I love how it looks, right? And then I closed it with the silk wrap. And then here on the back, and I wanted to show you this, and I'm going to show you how I close it with this one here too. I did what we call that fishtail, or the little macrame slider knot here. And so this is where I'm going to start picking up the instruction for this. And last but not least, I'll show you when we get a little closer, this other one that I've done. This one has just the drops and stuff that's strung on the metallic, and it looks really really nice, right? And any of the TierraCast pieces that we're out of, we're going to be restocking those. So hang tight, put yourself on the notification list. We got a whole bunch, but you guys just love them so much, so don't worry. We're gonna have those back in soon. So you can see I've done just the flat macrame here, and again I'll show you how I begin it, but I want to go ahead and glue this one down. I'm going to glue this rather than sliding the ends back up and through, because this is a sliding knot, right? So it needs to slide along the CKC that's underneath it. So if I had the tails coming up and going through here to finish it out, as I would slide this back and forth, those tails would slide out, right? So I'm just adding kind of a generous bit of glue to the CKC. Where I'm not gluing is this inner channel of the strands that are going underneath this little knotted section. So when these dry, the ending knots are going to be bonded together really nicely, but the threads underneath will be able to slide really well. So I wanted to do it now, so that would have a chance to, you could see how much glue I put on there. I needed to be real careful not to get it all over the place. But I'm going to let this set, and at the end, we're going to go ahead and deal with those. Okay, so let me do that. Okay, so I'm going to put that aside. So now let's get to some instruction. Okay, so I've done half of this, and let me show you what I've done here. So again, I'm starting in the center with this center piece here, the moon and the sun pendant. You can wear it on either side, whatever works for you. And you can see here how I have started with this navy CKC, and then I did some flat macrame with the gold, and then I switched it up here so that the gold is down on the inside. Okay, so I'm going to show you, and then on the end we're going to add that spiral and close it off. Okay, so I'll show you how I do that. So the length, let me tell you how much of this CKC, and again, this is the 0.5, which I think is the best for this. Again, the gold is a 0.8, so it's a little bit heavier. This is about 50 inches, 50 inches. It might be a little long, but we've got plenty of CKC on these. It's 10 yards, so you've got plenty to use. So I'd rather use a little bit more and have enough than a little bit less and have to add thread later. So I've strung that to the middle point of my charm here, and I will just come in and I'm going to get my clamp, and for this side I'll just come in and very carefully clamp over some of my previous work up here. Okay, then I'll pull this, there, it wants to be on this side. I'll pull this nice and tight and clip it on the other side of my board here. Now I want to make sure that my threads aren't twisted and stuff here, right? So it's nice and that I have enough room here for this one. Okay, there we go. Now on this one, I wanted to show you, and I could have treated it the same way. I could have passed the two threads through the center of this loop and added a happy donut like I did on the top, so it sit a little bit differently, but I did that with this one, so I wanted to show you something a little bit different with this one. Okay, but however you want to do it. Okay, so I also cut a strand of the gold, and I'll measure that is also about 50 inches. And what I've done on these ends, and this is really important for all of your ends, and I have these guys here that we're going to use. On all of these ends, as I've been using them, before I start, I make some little needle ends on all of these. And you guys have seen me do this, but I wanted to do these on some so you could see me, for those of you who haven't seen me do this before. I get my Zap glue and I add it to my baggie. Just a little bit, doesn't have to be a lot. Then I fold that baggie in half, and like the last maybe inch or maybe a little bit more, I just draw through, and that zap sets up pretty quickly. Whoops, don't drop the bag of zap. There you go. And I'm going to make my little needles. Let's see if I need needles on anything else. Does that one have a needle? It does. That one does. Does this one? This one does. And this one does. Good. Okay, so we're okay. I'm going to set this aside. So what that does here, see how nice and stiff this is? And then I come in and I give myself a little angle cut right there. And these are so good to go. And you're going to need that when we string some beads on the base. Okay, so these, let me trim these a little bit. The metallic ones have a tendency to want to fray anyway a little bit. So doing those glued ends with these, actually I'm going to cut it right there. There we go. Doing these glued ends kind of keeps these ends together nicely. Okay, so let's start by adding some flat macrame. So I'm going to find the center. Whoops. Go over there. I'm going to start by finding the center of my cord, and I'm going to go up. This is maybe about 1/4 of an inch here, right? But that 1/4 of an inch or so, I need a little bit of space there so that my charm moves freely. Now we're just going to do our plain flat macrame. We've got a macrame sampler, how to on the website, but I'll just show you. I'm going to start with my left side here. I'm going to make my loop. So my cord comes under my base cord, then it goes around in a loop that looks like a letter Q. Then I come on the right hand side, I pull that cord down so it goes over the tail, then it comes under that center base cord and up through that loop. Okay, and tighten it up. Tighten it so it's visually nice and tight. You just want to have some even tension there. Okay, so now I'm going to reverse that. I'm going to come in here and make a letter P loop going to the right hand side. I'll take my left hand cord. I go over the tail of the thread, under the center base cord, and up through that loop, bringing that knot down just on top. And you can see with this heavier metallic cord, the knots are a little stiffer, right? It's not quite as silky as the nylon CKC is, but I just did 2 sets of knots here. Okay, and that's it. You can do 2, you can do 3, you do whatever works for you. But then I wanted to bring everything together. I had to make a little bit of a transition, so that's where these happy donuts come in. Okay, so let me grab, or no, I'm sorry, that's where this 6-sided sixth sense comes in. Easy for me to say. I'm going to, again, clip these ends of these that I'm stringing with. And what I do to make it really easy, especially since these spacers have such big holes, I'll gather all of my little ends of my threads together. Let me get that in view there. There we go. And I'll just get this large holed spacer and I'll put them all through. Okay? And slide them on down. Now, this is where I switch cords. I was knotting with the gold and over this navy. Now I'm going to switch. And I'm going to make my gold the base. So what I do is I come in and I clip it down. And this is how I do it wherever I'm switching threads. Okay, wherever I'm switching outer threads like this is how I do this. Okay, so I'll, like here, I just traded out, the blue became part of the base threads, and I brought the purple out and did that over the top. When I switched, the purple became part of the base, and I pulled the gold ones out and started the macrame with that. Okay, so it's super easy. That's how you switch it up. So now I just tighten that bead down where I want it, and I'm going to macrame. So I'll come in, and I think I made like 2 stitches. I'll just say that's what I made. So I'll start with that Q side. You can start with either side, whatever works for you, right? But just try and be consistent, though it doesn't really show that much. So 1 on the Q, 1 on the P gives me a complete flat square knot, and it looks like that's all I did there. So now I'm going to start to add my beads in. So I use the champagne here, and you can see here for this one I went across, back and forth like a zigzag. Okay, so on some of them I went and I put the beads on at the same time. So I'll show you. This pattern is a little bit different than this one, but I'll show you the difference. Okay, so let me get a little bin here. That bin is a little dusty. Here's one that's nice and clean. And use the champagne, but you use whatever color you like. But I liked, this is very that classic celestial kind of look, right? With that dark night sky navy and the gold. So I want this to match what I've done here on this side. So if I get up close and personal here, you can see that the first bead that I put it on this right side here. Okay, so I'm going to make this one match. It doesn't matter which side you use, but when you go ahead and do the second side, Try and make it consistent. If it's not, again, who cares? It doesn't matter. But I'm just pointing that out. So I'm going to slide that bead on, and you can see here, it's hard to see because it's the dark navy, but where I ended, the last knot I tied, I ended up with this little like scallop over here on this piece. So I know that that's the side I make the loop on. Okay, right there. I wouldn't start the loop on this side with the bead because it's a scallop, and then I make another big scallop for the loop for the knot. Okay, so I'll come in, I'll bring this side over the tail, under the center strand, and tighten it up. Then I use my I go to the opposite side, and I add a bead to the opposite end, and I go and I tie it in the opposite direction. There we go. Now let me take a look here. It actually looks like, I'm going to pull this out. It looks like what I did here is that I tied, and I can see that. See how I can see these little scallops in between here, and these beads are spaced out a little bit further. I left a knot right there, so I didn't actually attach the bead, the next one here. I have this bead. Now I'm going to tie a plain knot. There we go, and there's my little scallop. And now I'm going to attach the bead. Okay, there we go. Now I'm going to come in, and I have my little knot there. I think I needed to do that just to get it started. There we go. I've got this one in. Tie my flat knot. Let's make sure that looks right. Yeah, there we go. I just had to tie that extra one there, so I had that stitch, so it looked nice and even. Okay, so now you're just going to go back and forth until you have 3 beads per side. That's what I did for this. Okay, I'm going to go a little bit more at Kate's speed here. You can decide how you want this to go, whether you want to do 2 sets, 3 sets, whatever works for you. And this one goes down. So now let me consult my pattern, my previous pattern, to make sure that it's matching close enough. So I've done some plain knots here. Then I did a 6th sense. I did one of the big 8mm English cuts, and then another 6th sense. So let's do that. Okay, so I'm going to go back and forth. I can see, I think I did 2 sets. So let's do 2 sets and see what it looks like. A lot of times I just look at it visually and see visually if it matches. You can also, though, count your little scallops and make sure that everything is the same, because with these, you also want your right and left side to actually come out even. You want the beads to kind of sit across from one another. So taking the time to actually make sure that they're right is probably worth your while. So that looks right. So now let's get some beads on this thing, right? So I'm going to get one of the 6th sense, and like I did before, I'm going to come in, I'm going to get my ends all together with those stiff needles that I made out of the zap. I'll slide all of these on. Sometimes they only want to go through 3, and then I'll kind of push them up and then push my 4th one in there. So that's 1. And so now I pull out the 2 navy ones. And I'm going to put this A dot here, this English cut is going to go on. Let me do this guy here. And you can see the holes are pretty big in this, right? So I can take, so what I do is these two stiffened with the zap don't really fit through. So what you have to do is you put one through and then you kind of push the bead hole up with your finger and put that second one through. And sometimes you have to tell it who's the boss, but it'll go. Okay. Then you're going to slide it all the way up. And I'm making sure that my threads are nice and flat and not twisted under that bead. Okay. So I pull it up. I don't want to push it up too much because I don't want to scrunch everything down. But now I'm just going to tie, kind of like we do with the poetry. I bring this strand around. Now, it really doesn't matter if I do the left or the right side with this knot. I just need to get a nice knot. Oh, you know what? I'm sorry. I lied to you. Nope, there's no knot there. Sorry. No knot. Instead of a knot, what I do is I bring in that sixth sense. I remember doing it, and the way I had done it first was with a knot, and it looked funny. So I guess that was in my muscle memory. So I'll put this big hole guy in there. Again, if only the three go through, push them through, push it up, and then slide that fourth one through. And then all the way down. And so you can see if I pull these threads to the side, kind of, I want that little gold one to be up. I push them to the side and then I slide that bead up. We're good to go. And now, let me consult here. I do another 1, 2, I do 2, 3, maybe a set of 3 knots. Let's see what it looks like. So I split these threads out again that I'm going to be knotting with. I clamp down my gold threads. And then I macrame. And I just come in and I want it to be nice and even as I can. And you can see a little bit of that gold peeking through, which I really like the looks of. Okay, and then I'll continue on with this side. Now on this side, you can see I've continued that pattern. So I have another set right here. Okay, so now I'm getting closer to where I need to kind of close this off and figure this out. So what I'm going to do, I think I want to introduce another accent color. So I'm going to clamp this down here. And I'm going to clamp this interior piece, this gold down, because I think I want to finish it off with the gold. So I'm going to clamp it down. And let me cut this blue. And maybe it's about 20, this is about 15 inches, about 30 inches maybe. I don't need a lot for this because I'm not going to use it for very much. Okay, so all I do here, I need to bring everything in. Okay, so I'm going to do that by pulling all of this together. Okay, bringing this around the back, finding the center, and let me just give myself like 2 sets of macrame knots, and I want it to just fall right in there. So I'm being kind of fussy about where it lands. Okay, I really want it to look nice. There we go, and I'm going to add a third one. There we go. Now, I want to, yeah, the metallic isn't as smooth, but it's not, it feels okay. I think it would feel okay against your neck. When I tried the gold one on, I didn't have an issue, but I'm not very sensitive to stuff like that, really. So, so some people may, but I found it to be, even though it was a little not quite as smooth, it's not super scratchy. So I'm going to put another one of these transition beads down here. And I'm going to pull everything. You can see I put those 4. And this one goes up. And this one will go in at the bottom. So I've got all 2, 4, 6 of my threads coming through. You could clamp this down, but I'm not. I'm using it just as a bead this time and not as a crimping bead. So see here, that's just going to come in and close up. So now I'm going to take out the threads. I'm going to continue doing that flat macrame with this ink and pulling both of these down, clipping them to my board. And I ended my macrame over here. That was the last loop, the last knot I made. So I'll go from that side. And I'll just give myself some. Now I could also bead this a little bit. So let me show you. These aren't stiffened, but let me show you how, instead of going across, or instead of going offset, you could go across. These still fit on okay, but it's not as easy as if they were stiffened. Can you see that? How it's like, no, that doesn't want to go through. Let me angle cut it and see if it will. They just sail on when you have the zap glue. There you go. So what you would do, instead of one and then the other, you'd put both on like this, and then you find where you start the knot. There you go. And then you come in and finish it in the opposite direction. Okay, I'll do that one more time. I think I've got some of those right here. This is the Duracoat Galvanized Champagne. It's such a pretty bead. It's not super bright gold, but it's a pretty warm, you know, and just a nice burnished kind of vintagey looking color. So I'll come in with that side because I know there's my scallop, so I start my loop there, and then I'll bring this one through there. And you can see the 2 colors that are peeking through underneath. And since this is 3, let's finish it with 3 so it matches that one. Okay, and can you see the difference between how this looks and how this looks? Okay, it's just a little bit of a difference. Not much, but it just makes it a little bit of a different pattern. And I'll come in and I'll tie it down like so. Now I'm going to give myself maybe 2 sets of knots. Let me get up a little bit here. 1 and 2. Now it's time to switch. Okay. And I'm going to do the twisted macrame, the spiral macrame, and I'm going to do it with the gold. Okay. So what I do is I unclamp everything, I pull these down, and I pull out the gold, and if one thread looks like it wants to go to one side and then the other looks like it wants to go to the other side, just kind of do that. There we go. And I'm going to put all of this down and I'm going to tighten it up. Okay, so now these just come out. Now watch how I do this. I have always had, I'll be honest, a little bit of trouble with the spiral knot, but I've kind of conquered it. And the way that I think about this is I'm going to make all of my loops with the right side. Okay, so I'm going to start with my loop on the right, make my stitch. Okay, and set it in. Now I'll go again to the right with my loop and set it in. To the right with my loop. And since this is tied kind of tightly, I'm going to let my thread, my base threads turn, but my cords, my right and left cords, kind of stay in one place. Can you see that? So I'm still going. This is still the same cord. I haven't switched anything, but the base of what I'm doing is twisting. Okay, so again with the right, and I'm just letting my piece twist, not my top cords. And from the right. You could also bead this stitch if you wanted. It makes it a little more open, so you might want to bead like every second one that you do, but you just be consistent as to which side you'd put it on. I'd probably put it on my loop side. See how it wants to do it? So I'm pulling it back. I'm going, nope, I'm just being consistent with this. So see that? And you can continue doing this twist as long as you like it, but just keep both strands in their place, and the base strand is tight on the board. Okay, it's tight on the board. I don't have one end that's kind of flowing free, right? Both are lashed down. Okay, so there's my little end here. I'm just going to do that closure. I'm going to bring everything back now to the center. Let me move it up a little bit. Maybe not that far up. There we go. And I need to make some decisions now. Okay, so actually let me take this off. And this is looking pretty good, like this, right? Okay. So I'm just going to finish this off with a silk wrap, I think. And I think for this, I'm going to use, these look nice and long. I think I'll use these for the base that's going to go up and around the neck, because I've got some, this one, the gold goes up and around on this one, so I want them to all be kind of different. This one here, the light blue goes up and around, so I'll have the dark blue go up and around on this one. Okay, so what I'll do is I'm going to come in and I'm going to see if any of these tails are long enough to do the silk wrap. I don't think so. I'm just going to cut another piece of this blue. So maybe about a board length, which is about 14 inches. And I'm just going to simply gather it all together right here, and see how I'm making it kind of flat. I'm going to take my loop. We've got a skill builder for this too, but you can see I've just created a little loop there. I've got my long tail for wrapping, and I'm going to wrap towards the loop. I like starting my wrap and wrapping up towards the loop, having the loop go towards the back of the necklace, because right here where the spiral macrame ends, I can start my wrap so it's nice and tight right up against there. Okay. And I'm going to keep wrapping. I see Annette just joined us from the Netherlands. Hello, Annette. We really have an international group here today, which makes me so happy. I love it. We're coming together from all over the world here at the bead table. Silk wrap it, you guys, as long as you want it to silk wrap. As long as you want that to be. You can see mine is about that long. I don't know, a little more than 1/4 of an inch. Then I'm going to kind of move these strands out of the way. And instead of wrapping all the way around, I'm going to wrap and send it through that loop. Now I'll come in and I'll pull this loop down, and as I do, it catches and slides this through. Okay, and then I'm going to pull on both to even it out. Now I have to make some very, very careful decisions here, kids. I don't want this part to all end in tears, so I'm going to clip this away today, but you could also thread burn. But I'm going to clip away the blue that I just used. Okay, we'll do that first. Clip it under tension there. There we go. Now I'm going to make sure that it's the blue that's going to be the one that goes around my neck. So I'm going to clip away this other blue that I macrameed here. It's all caught underneath this silk wrap. So I'm going to clip those. And I'm going to clip, I could also braid this one, maybe. Maybe I'll braid this. Maybe. Yeah, let's see how it looks. Why not? I don't know. If it's not right, then I won't. I'll hold these two, the blue ones, together as if they were one. I could also do a 4-strand braid, but and I'm trying to keep the tension as I'm braiding this. Let's take a look and see what it looks like. So here it's coming through here, and then I see that braid. It's a little busy. But sometimes you have to try it, right? I don't think it's as elegant. Or as Janice would say, it's a little architectural. Isn't that what she says? No, agricultural. I don't know what she says, but she says one of those. And neither of them, it means that doesn't look so good. So let me take that out. I'm going to use this blue as my base. And I'm just going to come in and clip. I'm going to clip that one and this one. Okay. So now this is ready to be incorporated into my agricultural. Thank you, Janice. A little agricultural. Architectural probably means a good thing. So this is going to come around. I'll finish this. This will come around. And then what I've got, how I do this here, I've got this one here ready to go. I lay everything out like this. So I'll clip this part to my board, this part to my board, everything nice and tight, so that when I macrame this is all macrameed, the base is under tension. Okay, and I start up here, I get a piece, again, that's about the length of my board. And I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, about 11 knots for this. Okay. And then I glued it really well. You can see these ends. So what I did was I kind of made sure that this slid around and stuff, and made sure that it all kind of slid nicely when I did this. And then I made the ends even. And I tied little knots here, put some beads on and tied little knots. Then at the beginning of the show, you saw me do that glue. right here. And there was a quick question from Andy. Andy asked, do you glue the silk knot when you're not doing a demo? You know, Andy, I don't usually, because that little loop that pulls that strand underneath, it's now down underneath this section of silk wrapping. You could, like if you're a gluer, I'm not always a big gluer, right? And something like this CKC really catches on itself and it's really nice and tight and good to go. So I don't have any trouble with that. But if I'm silk wrapping, let's say with leather or something like that, that might not be super stable like this is, then I might add just a little bit of glue to that loop before it gets pulled underneath. So these have been sitting the whole show. So I'm going to come in and I'm going to thread burn these away. In real life, I would have probably have liked to let these sit overnight, but that's okay. This is demo time. So I'm going to slip this right inside my thread burner, and I'm going to heat my thread burner and pull. I don't want to pull until the thread burner has been heated. I put a nice fresh battery in here, so it's really working well. If you have your thread burner and you store it for any length of time, you want to make sure and take the battery out. But that's just sliced and diced, good to go. And so see how this just pulls this way or this way. Okay, so that's the same thing I will do on the back of this one. Okay, so let me show you. So before I do my final demo, you guys, let me get you set up for the giveaway. Okay, I always forget about this, and then we always like run around and go, oh my gosh, the giveaway, the giveaway. So what I'm going to have you do, I know a lot of you are new to watching our broadcast, and so on Wednesdays I like to do fun little giveaways here that we do live. So if you're watching us live, it is Wednesday, September 15th, and it is 11:47 a.m. Pacific time. So what you're going to do is you're going to leave a comment in the comments, and I'm going to tell you what that word is in just a second. But you're going to make sure that if you're watching in our groups, the Great Bead Extravaganza group or the Beadshop Bead Table group, though I've seen most of you with names, so there's very few of you whose name I can't see, but you have to grant StreamYard permission to see your name. It's because groups are private, not public, so you have to grant them permission. So you go to StreamYard.com/Facebook, and you just grant, there's a permission, it looks like this, and you just say, let StreamYard see your live comments, and you just click that little button right there. Okay. If not, if you don't want to do that, you can jump over to our YouTube channel and I'll see who you are. You can enter, it doesn't matter how many times you enter, you guys, the feed will only pick up one of your entries. So what you're going to do is you are going to enter #moon in the comments to enter our giveaway. Okay, and in about 10 minutes or so after my last demo, I'll go ahead and we'll choose. We will have our let me make sure I've got this. Hang on a second. We'll choose our our winner here. And what you're going to win is, let me add this into, I've got this really cool Moon Phases bracelet from TierraCast. So thank you to TierraCast for providing our prize today. We really appreciate it. So let me just set this up, and I am collecting comments as we speak. I'm going to go ahead and share that screen. Bear with me here just a second while I do that. And then we will get back to our regularly scheduled. I'm going to remove that so you can see. Yep, you guys have got that going. Okay, perfect. So let's get back to this demo while you guys enter #moon in the comments. So I've got this piece here. I've got a couple of things I want to show you guys. So I hope we don't run too long today, but that's just how it's going to be. So you can see here what I've done is I have gotten that clear or the gold metallic thread here, and I'm just using it as a stringing material, right? It looks really cool, I think, almost like a chain. I think it's another really great way to use this product. And I've just stiffened the ends of these. And so this one won't be an adjustable one either, but this is the one where I'm going to use this little, that hammered hook. And I'm just going to simply pull that through. I'm going to measure it. I'm not going to do it right now, but I'll measure and I will silk wrap this into place. The other thing that you could do, you don't even have to silk wrap it. What you could do is you just get it and you tie it on the end like that. Walk that knot up wherever it sits. And then you could put a couple of little beads on the end here, like this. However it goes. And then you just tie a little overhand knot here at the back. And then you cut that away and you've got a little bit of a dangle. Or you can add a little bit of glue to this and cut it right up here at the knot. Okay? Really super easy. So don't forget, when you add that moon comment to the comments, you need a hashtag in front of it, hashtag moon. So make sure to get that hashtag in there. Okay? So that's this one. Okay? And then last but not least, I have our little moon phases. Let me see if I can find, I pre-cut the thread for it, so let me see if I can just kind of give you guys an idea of how this is going to go. What I'm going to do with this moon phase one is I'm going to start, I've cut a length of thread, and let me see. This, again, about 50 inches about or so. I'm going to kind of figure out where the center is. The center is about there, so I'll kind of go up a little bit from that center and attach it to the board. This is actually how I do this, right? I don't think about it too much because I can always work up or back on this piece. So I'm going to also lash this down right here, like this, and put it down there. And I'm going to just come in with another color. And I'm going to go up a little ways. This is about my center. Okay. So I'm going to come in and I'm just going to start some macrame here. Now, if it's not at the right place, like if I'm going to concentrate on the charms here, if I want some more macrame, I can add it like I did before on those other ones. I can go there and I can go there, you know, however you want to do it. Okay. But I'm just going to add a few of these guys. Okay. Like so. Keep adding that hashtag. I'm going to just do this demo just real quick, and then we'll go ahead and choose a winner. So I'm going to go, this one will be on the outside, this moon phase, and I'm going to add a little bead up on the top. And I think I want to use that AB, that gold AB. Okay, so I'm going to add this bead up. Whoops, I need to add it as a, just do a side cut there. And then I'll do that same over here, do that angle cut. And here, what I'm going to do is, I think, let me see how this is going to look. I think I want a little bead kind of like what I did with that drop charm, that drop. I put a little, so see that there, how it's going to sit? You can't. Let me get a little tighter. And I did that. I thought I did. Maybe I didn't. But I could put some little seed beads around these. I thought I did, but I didn't. So I'm going to do it around this one. And let's see how it looks. Okay. Tie it down. There we go. And then let's do the opposite direction. This feels like it needs a little bit more space. I don't know how much I like that big space sitting right there. So it was a good tester, but I think no. And again, I think I must have tried this around the drops and rejected it as well. So let me just make sure that this is facing the right way. And let's tie this in. Because we need our moon phases to be right. Yeah, there we go. That looks that looks as it should. So I'm going to do just a couple in between because I want these kind of bunched up together, but not so bunched up that they're going to look like two on top of each other, if that makes sense. And I don't want too many like beads in here that are going to detract from our little moon friends. So it looks like it's time to add that next one. So let's go to the next moon. I'll put that on. And I'll put this one on. There we go. Whoops. Got caught up on some seed beads here. Let's macrame that through. There we go, making sure that it's sitting in the correct direction. This would also make a great bracelet, but I think it'll be a fun little addition to the necklace stack. There we go. And I think I did 2 sets here. So then I'll just continue on with this. You can kind of see how this is going, right? How this is all pulling together. Let me undo it and you can see it. So I'll just continue on, continue. And then I'll add it, I'll come in with the layers here, and I'll see where everything is going to kind of fall. So that's kind of my the last thing that I do. And you could string, what I would do if I were making these in real life, I'd probably make some segments of all of them, and then I'd lay them out to see how they were all going to play against each other, and then I'd do my closures. So then you can see I'll come in and I'll figure out where everything else kind of sits in that. Okay, so if that makes sense, I hope it does anyway. So let's go ahead and let me add this to the stream. So we have 106 entries for this giveaway. So I'm going to come in, I'm going to go ahead and we're going to choose someone. And if you are the winner, what you're going to do is you're going to email Drea with that. So I'll put those instructions on. But let's go ahead and draw. Let me make sure we're all good here. And let's see who the winner is. Also, you guys, give us a like or a thumbs up or any of those shares or anything like that. We would love to get that. So all of that helps. And Nancy, you are our winner. So Nancy, what you are going to do is you are going to email your mailing information right to Drea at info@beadshop.com. I am going to put this, upon getting that, I'm going to put this little kit right in the mail to you. Okay? So thank you everyone for joining us and playing along with today's broadcast. So do remember, on Friday, I'm not going to be here. I am going to be relaxing and having fun for my birthday. So, but I will have a pre-recorded show for you. It's going to delve a little more into the basics of macrame. So I'm going to have everything laid out, and we're going to talk about 5 different simple stitches of the macrame. Okay, so you'll watch that on Free Tip Friday, and I will be back with you next Wednesday. You're not going to want to miss it, you guys. Janice has put in the mail perhaps the most beautiful necklace she's ever made. I can neither confirm or deny, but it's going to be great. So we're going to play around with that. We've got some new beads that are launching. And I also wanted to mention, we debuted this little mix on Tuesday, yesterday, actually. Let me add this to the stream here so you guys can see it. This was a little birthday mix that I made for myself. It's the gemstones. They're quartz gemstones. They've been dyed, but they're color fast. If you like the tiny gemstones, this little vial of goodness is going to be a lot of fun. I just love them. And we've got this little, what we like to call the, I don't know, the opulent, some kind of opulent button that I've got going on there. So they work together really, really well. We have a few left. I made a whole bunch, so I wouldn't disappoint anyone. So if you want to grab that, we do have that mix left for you guys. It's called September Soiree, I believe. So that's what I got. It was an epic broadcast today. I knew that you would expect nothing less from the Celestial Collection. So thank you so much. The project map will be up on these soon, so you'll be able to see it, follow along bead per bead. Join me on Friday for some more macrame hints to really hone your macrame skills in there. And as always, you guys, you can find all of the information on today's broadcast, the project, and the products right on our website, right at beadshop.com. You can sign up for our newsletter for the latest discounts, giveaways, and new products. And you're not going to want to miss next week. We have a great launch that Janice is incorporating into this fantastic necklace. Thank you so much. Thank you for the warm and kind birthday wishes. They go straight to my heart. I really, really appreciate it. And I will see you all for a pre-recorded session on Friday and live next week with Janice. Thanks so much, everybody. Talk to you soon.